Aging is something everyone experiences, yet few are truly ready for how it transforms not just our bodies, but our relationships, mindset, and the way others perceive us. Wrinkles and slower movements are obvious, but what often goes unnoticed are the subtle habits that gradually shape our later years. This video explores the 12 habits seniors develop as they age that can quietly push people away and make later life lonelier than it needs to be. These habits aren't about becoming bad or selfish, they're about patterns that slowly isolate us. Take Henry, for example. At 72, he is a retired math teacher, kind, wise, and well-respected. For years, friends and family sought his advice. Patient, humorous, and engaging, he was the center of many conversations. Over time, however, things changed. Calls became less frequent, visits shorter, and his home quieter. Henry wondered why. Life had changed, of course, but slowly he realized it wasn't just life, it was him. Small habits had built walls instead of bridges. Negativity was the first habit to creep in. Henry didn't consider himself negative, he thought of it as honesty. Over time, small complaints about aches, the news, or younger generations became constant. Conversations grew heavier, visits shorter, and even his grandkids lingered less. Constant negativity, however justified, drains people. Henry learned that growing older didn't have to mean growing bitter. By focusing on the little joys of the smell of coffee, the sunlight through trees, the laughter of children, he softened the hold of complaints. Leading conversations with positivity brought warmth back into his life, and people stayed longer, smiled more, and connected more deeply. The second habit was neglecting personal hygiene and appearance. Henry had once taken pride in dressing well and looking presentable. After retirement, comfort replaced care, and over time, carelessness crept in. Friends barely made eye contact, not out of judgment, but because energy speaks louder than words. By returning to small routines as shaving, dressing neatly, wearing his favorite watch, he reclaimed a sense of self that had been missing. Stubbornness was the third habit. Henry resisted change, especially with technology. He avoided video calls and messaging apps, missing family moments. Pride made learning new tools feel uncomfortable, but when he finally embraced them, he reconnected with his family, sharing photos and messages in real time. Staying open to change doesn't mean losing yourself, it keeps you engaged with life. Hoarding and refusing to let go of clutter was the fourth. Henry's home, filled with memories, became heavy and difficult to navigate. Clutter also weighed on his mind. Gradually decluttering, one small step at a time, lifted both his physical and mental space, proving that letting go creates room for new experiences rather than erasing the past. The fifth habit was losing patience too quickly. Henry, once calm and collected, found himself irritated by slow lines or distracted drivers. Recognizing this, he learned to pause, breathe, and remember that everyone is facing unseen struggles. Awareness restored kindness and lightened his heart. Talking too much and not listening enough was the sixth. Henry loved sharing wisdom, but over time, he dominated conversations, leaving little space for others. By practicing active listening and asking about others' experiences, he noticed his relationships deepen and conversations flow more naturally. Pushing people away instead of accepting help was the seventh. Henry's independence became isolation. A neighbor's simple offer of help reminded him that accepting support builds connection rather than diminishing strength. The eighth habit was being too frugal to enjoy life. Years of saving had turned caution into missed experiences. When Henry allowed himself small pleasures, concerts, outings, or simple treats, he reintroduced joy into his life. Talking down to younger generations was the ninth. Comments meant as humor or pride came off as judgment. By asking questions and showing curiosity instead of criticism, Henry fostered respect and connection across generations. Holding grudges and living in the past was the 10th habit. Clinging to old resentment trapped his heart in yesterday. Practicing forgiveness and letting go freed Henry to appreciate the present and notice the beauty around him. Ignoring health issues was the 11th. Dismissing symptoms delayed care, but once Henry prioritized checkups, medication, and daily movement, he regained energy, confidence, and a sense of control over his life. Finally, the 12th habit was forgetting to laugh and have fun. Routine had replaced joy by intentionally seeking moments of play, laughter, and simple pleasure. Henry reignited a vital part of his spirit. These 12 habits: negativity, neglecting appearance, stubbornness, hoarding, impatience, talking too much, rejecting help, excessive frugality, condescension, holding grudges, ignoring health, and forgetting to laugh may seem small alone, but collectively, they shape how the world experiences aging. Awareness and small changes can reverse their effects. By choosing gratitude, curiosity, self-care, openness, and joy, the later years can become the most beautiful chapter. Aging doesn't have to take happiness away, it can expand your capacity for connection, kindness, and laughter. By noticing and adjusting habits, it's possible to age with awareness, love, and a youthful heart, embracing discovery, joy, and meaningful connection at every stage of life.